Hey, Andrew here. Let's test some more Subsonic 300 Blackout. Today we'll take a look at Hornady's 190 grain Subsonic Sub-X 300 Blackout load. We're going to fire it from an 8-inch AR-15.com 1-7 twist upper. Let's head out to the range and take a look. Okay, so how's this doing? Well, kind of, sort of mediocre, really. So you can see that it started to do something around here. So we'll call that the neck at 1 inch. A fragment broke off here. The track gets a little wider, and there is some expansion, but it looks a little uneven from here. We'll see when we get it out of the block. Penetration, 17.2 inches. And you can see the cute little rubber plug that it left right there. So it's still fragmenting a little bit here. You can see these little bits of jacket material here that didn't really peel back or got pushed back around in front. It did expand a bit. There's a little fragmentation, and in supersonic full power rifle loads, we do like to see a bit of fragmentation because that helps turn the temporary stretch cavity into tearing. But at subsonic velocities, those fragments don't come very far off of the main track and they don't really tear much. So we'd rather just see bigger expansion than fragmentation. So this isn't a plus. It's not terrible, so there's not a lot of fragmentation. So it isn't a big minus, but it's also not something to be considered a plus. Okay, so far so good. The expansion is somewhat modest. It's not enormous. It did expand. The expansion looks almost exactly like the picture on the box. And this is a tipped bullet, so I don't expect a big difference in the heavy clothing test, but I would be remiss if we didn't at least give that a shot. It performed pretty close to the same with the heavy clothing. You can see that the neck is almost exactly the same length on each of these shots at about 1 inch. Penetration was 20.8, 20.3. A little less expansion on that one. And also a little less expansion on that one. So while the gel looks the same, I guess it is fair to say that heavy clothing can affect a bullet with one of these little rubber plugs in it to some extent, but it still did work. Okay, so in heavy clothing, also fairly decent performance. I'm not doing backflips over this. I've seen a couple of other subsonic loads that expand a little bigger. However, there's a lot of subsonic loads that won't expand at all in bare gel, and even more that won't expand at all when fired through heavy clothing. So although it's hard to get excited about this, we shouldn't dismiss the fact that it does perform properly in both bare gel and in heavy clothing. The penetration's a little deep, but it's not excessive. The velocity is mild, but bear in mind it's an 8-inch barrel and they may be most likely are trying to keep it subsonic even out of a 16-inch barrel, so there's a little bit of room for error there. Overall, this is doing a very good job for a 300 blackout subsonic. And if you know anything about me at all, you know that in my opinion, subsonic 300 blackout is a terrible choice for defense. That is, it's better than a sharp stick. It is indeed a firearm. But that's where it stops. See, subsonic 300 blackout is essentially a pistol cartridge. Full power 300 blackout is obviously much more powerful. The difference is night and day. It's not remotely comparable. So if you own a 300 blackout and you want to use it for defense, you should load it with real 300 blackout ammo. And yeah, I know. People say, but silencers. Well, the thing is, in a fight for your life, a silencer still cuts enough noise off of a full power 300 blackout that it is useful in that you can still communicate with 911 dispatch and with your loved ones, and you're not deaf from the shots being fired indoors. It still does its job. The silencer still does its job to cut down the noise, but the ammunition performs a lot more tissue damage on the bad guy, which means a lot less rounds fired by you, less danger to your family and neighbors, and the bad guy can't do the bad things for nearly the same period of time. This isn't a game, and you're not a ninja assassin. Subsonic 300 blackout is fun on the range, and it does have some very limited practical use. Maybe discreet pest control so you don't piss off the neighbors, that sort of thing. But when it comes to defense, the important thing is to make the bad guy stop doing the bad things as fast as possible, and real rifle cartridges are the way to do that. If you're going to use a rifle, load it with real rifle cartridges. If you disagree, fight me. Seriously, post a comment below. I love to hear your feedback. As always, like, share, subscribe. That helps YouTube understand the sort of things that you like. And with the way YouTube has been treating gun videos lately, that's more important than ever. Of course, if you have the time, please head over to our sponsor, Ventura Munitions. Check out what they have in stock. Come back here, tell us what you'd like to see us test next. Have a great day.